Two. Hello. This thing is always just going without me even pushing it. How are you guys? What is up, fam? I missed you guys. It's been a minute. It's been a little minute, right? StreamYard been kind of hating on me. I ain't been able to go live on both accounts at the same time. So I have to choose. But I missed you guys. I'm glad to be able to get the time to come in here. Let me see what banner. I guess we'll keep it at this banner. So I have a message I want to share that came to me. I don't know how long it's going to be, but I'm going to try to keep it under 30 minutes. But once you get in here, let me know where are you watching me from or listening. And let me know if you guys can hear me well as well. My YouTube family. I'm just going to wait a little bit for some of you guys to enter. Yeah, what are we going to talk about today, which is tonight where I'm at? We're going to talk about having difficult conversations. And, yeah, I'm going to share this message that Source wants me to share about this. I think it's a really big message. And the subject might sound like it's really like personal and like, very like specific. And I guess it's both because it's also general. This is something that has to do with the entire collective, something that we are being called to go more into, to accept more. And when you guys have heard me talk about the changes that are going to happen over the first, I'll say the next 4 years or so, but then after that, over the next like 30 years, like for real, like the big changes as we go into the earth shift, coming into that in 2027, even this next year. If you guys think that this year went by fast, 2025 is going to feel like 6 months. Get ready. So this message has a lot to do with that, even though it doesn't sound like it's connected, it's so connected. And that is just encouraging you guys to, even if you have to do some research and actually study about it, but learning how to be comfortable having difficult conversations, like learning how to have uncomfortable or difficult conversations, and also teaching your children that. Let's start there. It's going to go further than that because it's an even bigger message than that. But I think it's important to just start in the home. So one thing, let me know if you guys can hear me well. I have my mic all the way down here. But one of the things that I'm so big on in my house, in my family, and with my children that I'm raising is them having the skill of having difficult conversations. And I practice this with them all the time. We have this time that we do at night called circle time. And that's where we come together. Literally, it's a platform that I have created for us to have difficult conversations in a not so feeling difficult way. For humans, it's like the reason why it's hard for us to have difficult conversations. I'm using this because it just shouldn't be difficult, but it is because we feel like we're being attacked. There's a lot of defenses. There's a lot of things. It's like what I tell my children, whatever conflict is happening right now with someone that you actually know, especially if this is more than one time, it's not the conflict that's happening. It's the time that it's something that happened previously, and the previous thing before that, and before that, and before that. It's situations stacked on top of each other. So when you need to come to your partner, when you need to come to your friend or whatever it is, it's hard to have that conversation because you feel like you're being attacked. And then also we don't come from a society that has taught this, that has taught us being able to talk about our feelings, and then also to receive criticism about it, and to even give criticism with love. So the message that Source has really been giving me, it's going to get bigger. This is just on the surface level, is for us to really be encouraged to implement difficult conversations, like being a normal thing. Create the environment for you and your family to be able to speak about hard things, what you guys don't like about each other, in a lighter way, to the point where it doesn't feel like it's such an intense anxiety like conversation to have to confront someone. This has a lot to do with even being able to set up your boundaries. Let me make sure my phone is on Do Not Disturb. I don't think it is. Okay. So going further into that, and this is still the same subject, this has to do with being comfortable with the truth. This is really what this message is about. Again, it sounds separate. Difficult conversations, accepting the truth. If you guys remember this very famous part in the Bible when Jesus says that the truth will set us free, we have to get used to the truth, as a lot of things that have been coming out already in the last 5, really the last 10 years, let's be honest. The Great Awakening back in 2012, 11 years ago, is really when things really started to come out. That's even when the talk of the Age of Aquarius started to come out. If you're not familiar with what the Age of Aquarius is, then it is just a real brief explanation, is that over the last 3 to, I don't know, 5,000 years or so, we had been in the age of Pisces. So as above is below, these planets, astrology is not some spiritual mumbo jumbo. It's just astronomy. It's just the planet, the study of the planets, and they do affect us. When there's a full moon, the parasites in our body are more active. This is not a conspiracy theory. You can just look it up. So things that are above us do affect us, the stars and all those things. So in the age of Pisces, that is the fish sign or symbol, and that is the age of Jesus, the age of religion. That's the symbol of Jesus, and that's the age of religion, right? Now that we've been out of that now, and we are in the age of Aquarius. Aquariuses, or the sign, stands for truth and rebellion. So what you've been seeing since about 2012, even more than ever in history, you've been seeing a bunch of rebels coming out. You've been seeing people like just Malcolm X and Shirley Chisholm and a lot of other, Harriet Tubman, just living through a lot of us. And even in places like France, like just, people, they're just coming together, coming against the government and stuff a lot more. This is all Aquarius energy. And then most importantly, the truth coming out. So as we go and we continue, and if you've been following me for a long time, and I've been speaking about this, about the earth split, the rapture, and just how amazing things are going to be, even though they are going to feel like chaos at first. So that has to do with that. And so we're, as we go further into these next 3 to 4 or so thousand years of us being in the truth, and even the overturn of women, you can see the overturn of the power of women starting to show up more. We can see that women are becoming more million and billionaires than ever. You can see it in our music right now, even in hip hop. There's like no male rappers or even singers doing anything. It's just all women. We can see it in so many stands, not on no feminist kind of thing, but just things change. This is Earth. It's ever changing. And so that is changing as well. And it has to do with the great shift that we're going into, and also with the Age of Aquarius that we're in already. So with that, there's some of us that are behind, as far as not behind in the literal sense, because there's no such thing as that, but behind in the sense that it's like we're refusing almost. A lot of us are almost refusing to see the light. And that's what this live is about. It's about the call of action to make yourself, whatever it is that you have to do, to be comfortable having difficult conversations and stepping into the truth. So when you see the truth and when you hear the truth, to embrace it and to be okay with it. There's a lot of things that we just deny as our own culture. I see this in Black Americans. We see this in Jamaican Blacks. I see this over here in Senegal. Me and my African friends talk about this. There's a serious silence amongst our culture when it comes to all types of stuff. Like, we are so afraid of the truth. We're so afraid of speaking about what really happened and what really took place or what is going to happen. And yeah, it's just a real call for that. If you want to be prepared for what is coming up, which honestly there's no for real way to be prepared, but if you just want to flow a little easier, try and ease up on not running from the truth and not denying when you see something that might even be hard to stomach or hard to even believe. But try and embrace, it's the same subject. It seems like it's different, but it's the same thing as having difficult conversations, because the same anxiety, the same avoidance syndrome, it happens when it comes to having difficult conversations. So it's about those words that Jesus said, the truth will set us free. The truth sets us free. So when you see someone talking about the what I always have called the worst thing in mankind, the reason why you can't convince me that hell is not on earth as well, is what is done to children. Like, what is done to children all throughout history. In my own personal experience, being a content creator, being a speaker, being someone who's always been verbal on social media, the one subject that is just so dry that I barely get any responses of, and it's just the most quiet conversation. It's that subject. It's the subject about what is done to children, about the safety of children. When someone is defending children and speaking up about children, it's so amazing that how much this truth is just like, it's like no one even sees. It's like you guys don't even see the posts, or you don't even like, and you do, or you don't hear me saying it. Now, I'm just speaking from my own personal experience, but this is on a broad scale. Now, and also this is just one subject, but it's a big subject. So we're going into stuff like that. And you guys got to be able to take the truth and then enjoy your day still. The truth is not negative. The truth is not negative. People, and especially Black people from here and there, really take something about government corruption or whatever kind of truth is coming out like it's negative. But you got to ask yourself why you are so avoidant of the truth, and how come you can't see the truth and then go on with your day, still have love, still, because it's a different exchange. And we got to be able to accept both sides of that. We can't be like uselessly scrolling through social media all the time, ignoring the truth, and then only wanting to get that dopamine rush of the funny stuff or the sexual stuff. So that's really what this is about. Again, it sounds like it's separate, but it's the same. You cannot tell me that you're someone who is good at having difficult conversations if you also are avoidant of the truth when you see it, if the truth scares you. So I just want to really encourage you guys to be okay with the truth. Like, I will sit here and make a funny TikTok, speak about child abuse, and go write some poetry, make up a dance, teach my children all in one day. It's something that has to take place where we're practicing being able to go into the truth and feeling good about it, and even able to make a decision on how you want to feel about something. Because I think that's where a lot of the avoidance comes from, is not wanting to confront the person or set up the boundary or see the truth and read the truth and share the truth or whatever it is, because you're just kind of like, it's like you're running from yourself. You're literally, you feel this anxiety inside of you. I think a lot of people deal with that. When you have to confront someone, you have to tell someone, I don't like the way that you treated me or that you spoke to me. there's anxiety that's built up. And we have to get to a point where we're deciding that I'm not going to feel that. I'm not going to feel the anxiety. I'm just going to release that. That's why you guys always see me giving this technique of breathing in your nose like you are smelling flowers and breathing out of your mouth like you're blowing candles. And it sounds so corny and simple, but it is a game changer. I'm telling y'all, breathe like that. It's the diaphragm breath. It's the breath that we're all breathing before we come here. It's the breath that we're really like supposed to be breathing. And it does so much for your nervous system. It's not a gimmick. It's a real thing. Teach your children to breathe that way. You can regulate your emotions and change the way you feel in just a few minutes by breathing that way. So, what time? What time is it? I've been on here 15 minutes. Okay, good. I'm not going to go over 30 minutes. That's my goal. But I really wanted to get on here and talk about this because think about our history. Now, I don't know how many of you guys study like history. I am a big history buff. I am a true believer that if you don't know your history, you don't know what's happening. You don't know what's going on. It's just, I could go on and on about this. You cannot even, this is non-debatable. If you don't know what has happened in the world, you do not know what is happening right now. You just can't. You just can't, because everything here is done in fragments. And the last fragment, the last few minutes and seconds of things is what creates the next event. This is quantum physics. So if you don't know what was happening 10 years ago, 30, 40 years ago, and I'm talking about the truth, then you just really don't know a lot here. So I'm really big on history, and I've always told my I've always even told my kids that out of all the things that I have learned and understand about history, there's nothing more like chilling and just diabolical, just unspeakable. I don't even know what words to use than the study of the history of children. The study of the history of children. If you guys don't know, these governments have a study on everything. There's a study on cell phones, study on leaves, a study on crickets, a study on mud. There's literally thousands to billions of dollars spent every single year on a lot of studies of the most random things. You would be like, why is there a study on this? So you can literally go down the rabbit hole of the study of the history of children. And this is the study of how children have been treated throughout history. Now, this is always kind of challenging for me to explain, because adults, the way that we see ourselves is like we are just completely made brand new because we're no longer children. We do not have, like, there's some type of disconnect that humans have. And I'm speaking from that perspective because I've understood this as a child, and always just felt like, man, like these adults are just disconnected. Like, I'm not from this planet. There's such a disconnection, you know? My aunt, she told me that I used to say all the time, like, it doesn't have to be like this here. Like, this is not how it's supposed to be. So there's just a real disconnection that we have between 30, 40 years ago, 50, and today. And we don't understand that you are still that child. You are still that child. And so much of this life, 95% of it is about tapping into that child. So when you hear me and the few other people in the world that talk about children, if you don't know, I've always been an advocate for children. We're talking about us. Like, we're talking about me and you. There was a film that I was in, if you guys remember, was that last year? Oh my God, time is crazy. That was last year. It was like last March, I think. And the kids and I were in a film here. And it was a film by the kids camp here called Sunu Chusan. And in the film, I have like a speech or a thing that I said, and I'm speaking about children. And what I said is something that I say all the time. And I think really we all say it, and we don't even really understand what we're saying. And I was talking about how children are the future of the world. And I feel like this saying this, and I think this is what I said in the documentary. Saying this is like saying the words love, or like saying like I mean the word love, or saying I love you, or talking about or saying friendship, or I mean there's just so many terms. Narcissistic. Like there's so many terms, and even sayings that we have that we've used so much that they're watered down. Like we don't even really know what they mean. We don't actually connect with what they mean. So when we say children are the future, in a literal sense, we're talking about us. You are still that child. You are that child. Like you are. I don't know how else to put it. So when you look up this study of the history of children, and you find out that all throughout history, from the biblical days, there's scriptures in there where you can see children being mistreated, and before. And I'm talking about every type of abuse, every type of belittling. I mean, there was a time in history that adults didn't believe that children even, like, that their brains were like capable of really thinking. Like there's I mean the things that you can read about the history of children, it will just have you like it will have you blown away by where we come from, like the history of mankind. So when you think about that, and you think about what we see all the time, people are always saying how evil the world is, and the world is so corrupt, and the last generation is always complaining about the next generation. When is the last generation not complaining about the following generation? They're watching them, and they're just talking about them, and they're just, oh my God, look at them, we didn't used to do that, yeah. And it's this far out, absolutely insane disconnection that I have never understood. Like I have been like 6 years old, just amazed at how evolved and how amazing and really intelligent humans can be, and at the same time so disconnected from this. Because what are we complaining about? If you guys haven't heard me say, the adults that we complain about are the children who were never taught how to human in a healthy way. I'm going to say that again. The adults that we complain about are just children who were never taught how to human in a healthy way. This is every generation. This is not skipping any generations of mankind, you guys. At least from the longest time that we have recorded on how children were seen. I know a lot of us, like people in my generation, even before we can talk about how parents would say stuff like, you too young to have nerves, or, don't speak unless spoken to. Like, we know that, like, in this time, we can say that our mothers and our grandmothers, had a certain toxic way of treating us and dismissing us and stuff like that. Of course, like, it seems like my generation is really the ones coming into like this gentle parenting phase, and this whole thing about acknowledging children's mental health and stuff like that. But when you go further than even our grandmother's time, way further than that, to generations and generations, it gets really wild. Like the history of how humans have been reared up, and then the way that we are confused about how the world turns out, and not realizing that the people that are in control of the world, like, which is us, we are all what makes up the world, are those children. I just be like, how are we missing this? Like, how are we, like, it's like 1 + 1 is what, like, it just seems so simple to me. Are you guys getting this? Is this making sense? Or am I in another realm, like speaking through a tube? Because that's how I feel sometimes. Like, I feel like it could just be so simple. It's exactly what my aunt said I used to say to my mom and them. Like, it doesn't have to be like this. Like, not only does it not have to be like this, but soon it will not. And that's the whole point of this live, is us stepping into the shift that is happening. And I feel like a lot of you guys, especially from my country, if you're watching this, I know that things are feeling dense, and maybe even a little weird, and maybe even a little scary after the elections and everything. And yeah, this live is for a lot of you, because you're in the energy. Like, oh my God, I got to do a whole nother live about energy, because it's another disconnection that we have. There's no language that is deeper than energy. It's the one language that none of us have to learn. No one has to teach us energy. We all come through here with energy. Energy is a feeling, is a mood, is a frequency. It's all the same thing. Babies come here and automatically have moods and frequencies and feelings. No one had to teach a baby how to feel. So feeling is, which is the same thing as, like I just said, frequency, energy, same thing. There's no separation between energy and feeling. It's like literally a synonym for it. And so that is our first language. That means that energy is very first and very real. So that means that when you're in an environment with a lot of chaos, which also explains our country anyway, because we are, a people that, we're partying on top of, grave ditches, places where they have dumped bodies and we never retell the story. It's a big difference that I see here too from from this country that I live in, where they really do tell their stories, versus us. We don't tell our stories, and I think that that makes a big difference with how the energy is. Even with people having some of the most extreme poverty situations here, and still like the happiness, and still having the healthiness to be able to live together. Like, I just think there's different levels of trauma and the response that we have, because we don't retell our stories and we don't understand that energy is real wherever you are, and whatever has happened there and whatever is happening, you're going to feel it. So I think a good example, if that didn't make any sense, then a good example is how a lot of people are saying that they feel right now in America after the elections. Ta-da! That's saying this exact same thing. It's not like the voting thing itself is like you're not carrying it on your back. It's the energy of the result of that everybody is feeling. So that shows you how real energy is. I want to make sure that I'm not missing anything. So yes, if you guys are enjoying this live, please hit that thumbs up. You can share this now as well. I'm at 27. Oh, we got a few more minutes. Let me know if you have any questions, any comments, you guys. I'm gonna get off of here. I'm gonna really try to get off of here at 30, 35. Definitely not 40. I cannot be on here at 40 minutes. Come on. I know my lives are usually like an hour, but I'm trying to shorten them. So yeah, that is the message. It is about stepping into the truth and just stop being afraid of the truth. You guys are watching movies that are all like, I don't even want to say the words on here, but you guys watch movies, because I don't watch scary movies. A lot of us are watching movies that are the most gruesome, chilling. I mean, I don't want to get too deep into it, but movies that there's no way that the writer is a sane individual. Like, you're really partaking in something else that you don't realize, and you're not afraid of that. But we're afraid of the truth. That's a problem. That's a problem. Like, you are truth. That's why that is in the scripture. That's why Jesus said that. It's like, it's one of the most important things to remember. If you remember anything out the Bible, is the truth will set you free. What does that even mean? The truth will set you free? Think about that. On so many levels, think about that. The truth is transparency. Is that not like the meat and potatoes of a relationship? It's all the same thing, the truth. And that transparency definitely sets you free in a relationship. Transparency is better than honesty. It's honesty 2.0, and it's the truth. So get into it. That is my encouragement to you guys. That is the message, is to get into the truth and find a way where you're okay with it. It's just so much running from the truth that you're not going to be able to handle the stuff that's coming up. If you're continuing with that pattern where the truth is scary to you, you need to get one of those old phones. I seen people are buying like the old phones that don't have the internet, like the ones we were playing Snake on. Cut all your subscriptions off, get off of social media, and get one of those old phones, because you're not going to be able to handle what's coming. Not to mention the fact that as we go into this rapture, this 2027 Earth shift, I want you guys to remember that I said this. If you are not listening to anything else I'm saying, remember me talking about this Earth shift throughout 2027 that has really already begun. Or same thing as the rapture in the Bible. You guys remember in the Bible how it talks about people disappearing. It says people will be in the fields working and their neighbor will disappear. It is not saying that that is literally going to happen. It's full of metaphors. It's not saying that. That would be crazy, right? We would all need like you would have to go to a mental home like the rest of your life. If you're walking down the street and your kid just disappears, it just vanishes. That's not what the Bible was saying. We gotta know that. If nothing else, we have to know that it was not speaking in a literal sense. What it's talking about is this shift. This is a shift that has been predicted from the Mayan calendar to, I mean, there's so many, I don't even know all the different levels in religions and cultures that have predicted, like the 2012 awakening that took place when everybody started to go vegan and started to, make hemp and everything, or start fighting for it to be legal and stuff. But the prediction of 2027, it is very much not something that is a conspiracy. You can just look it up, and there's so many things where there's old documents of different cultures talking about it. So, yeah, it's not going to be people just disappearing. It's going to be us. It's going to be the decision that you make over these next few years, whether you want to live in truth and you want to free yourself. This means freeing yourself from victimhood, freeing yourself from not forgiving whoever it is that you're holding on to. Free yourself from the illusion that you're healing if you know deep inside that you're really not. If you're doing shadow work for years on end and you're still easily irritated, if you're still waking up upset, if you still find yourself in bouts of depression, I'm just trying to think on top of my head. But yeah, this is the time for us to decide, because and when I say decide, I mean decide which side that you want to be on, the truth or the lies of victimhood and the lies of the world is against you, and if it ain't one thing, it's another, and you take one step forward and 10 steps back. Like all of these constructs that we've had of such negative thinking and such running from the truth of what you really are. We are deciding every day right now, without you even realizing it, you're deciding what side of the rapture that you're going to be on. And I don't like, this is not supposed to be like a spooky conversation. This is supposed to be like how I've always spoken. So it might sound, but see, this is a good example of if this is too much for you, breathe and relax. Because what happens is, like, humans, like, we'll run from the truth, and then when the big bang occurs, everybody is like losing their mind. Like before, a great example is before I moved here. If you've been following me, you know that since 2011, 2012, I've been talking about the importance of us leaving our country. Of course, not everybody is supposed to leave, but I've been talking about the people that you can feel it inside of you to make these moves. And I've been sharing these messages for so long. And for, I'm going to say, 10 of those 11 years, definitely at least 8, people were calling me crazy. They were calling me crazy. They were ignoring me. A lot of you guys watching this now, or going to be watching this replay, were just really telling me that I was crazy. And then as soon as the pandemic hit, I just got these flushes of messages and emails, and people are like, oh my goodness, you were right. I think you made the right move. And, and it's just all a matter of just running from the truth, because in the moment, I understand it, because you're going through other stuff you this is going to be different for everybody, or maybe a blend of a couple of the things in one. You're going through a lot of stuff, so you kind of just feel like right now you don't even want to get into the deepness. I see that a lot. I've been seeing that a lot for years, where it's like, ooh, child, I don't even. Ooh, they said they doing that. I don't even want to. It's and you know what, that right there, it always reminds me of what Emmett Till's mom said. She has an amazing quote, that where she quoted, and she said that she used to always say that what happened to the people in the South was their problem. And it wasn't until what happened to Emmett Till that she realized that it's everyone's problem. And I love that quote because it's hard for us to understand this in our human form, but on our soul level form, you guys, we're all working together. It seems like we're all in division here. I mean, okay, we are. A lot of times, right? But on a soul level, on the other side, we are one, and we love each other so much. We're working together so hard, like to make this planet a place to live on, a peaceful place. So yeah, it's just a lot of that, but it is shifting. It is shifting, and there is going to be a lot of chaos to come throughout that. So again, my encouragement is just for you to be comfortable stepping into the truth, having those difficult conversations, teaching the next generation. If you guys are just tuning in, I talked about how I create this environment for my children where it's a normal thing for us to talk about difficult things. When you're in a family or any connection, you can have beef with the mailman, like any connection that you have, you're going to have contrast. It's what we came here to do. You're going to have disagreements. You're going to feel some kind of way. So creating that environment for children, even if you have teens and you're just now starting this, it's so important to do it before they leave the house. Because again, the adults that we complain about, it's just the children that were never taught to human in a healthy way. All right, you guys. It's 37 minutes. I'm going to get out of here. Let me know if y'all have any questions. If you guys would like to book a session with me, intuitive coaching, or a multidimensional regression session where I take you into another life and you speak to your soul team and you can ask them any questions that you want and receive confirmations. Speaking of, did y'all hear Kendrick Lamar's new album where he has that song Reincarnated, and he is telling the story of him getting a past life regression session and how much it changed his life? Oh my goodness. Y'all just don't know how many regressionists are like, today was our day. Like, or I guess it was yesterday, right? I had a lot of clients sending me the song. That's how I found out about it. But I've been seeing a lot more people that do this work that I do posting about it, because you just feel seen. You feel like, finally, like finally we are stepping into this space where slowly, like it's like our the door is open and our foot is just like slowly stepping in, where these kind of things that we were called crazy for and we've had to hide and pretend like it's not a thing, like, and it's just changing. And maybe it doesn't sound like that to you because maybe you're thinking, oh, it's just a rapper, but no, that's not it. Even in the last what is it? The last what's the movie with Eddie and Will? What you call it? Men, policemen. I forgot the name of the movie. Y'all know the movie. It's not Men in Black. It's the other movie. It's on top of my head. But they were speaking about seeing each other in another life and having a regression and having lives together and things like that. The movie's going to come to me. But it's just happening more and more. It's just becoming more accepted. And it's really amazing. I can only speak from my experience and what I do, but the healing that comes from this, words don't teach, you guys. Mark my words. There are going to be people watching this video in 100 years. And I am going to say right now that in this time in 2024, it is not yet openly accepted for psychologists to connect spirituality to psychology. But in 100 years, a lot less than that, I'm just going to the further least. There's no longer going to be this traditional psychology. People are going to be saying that their occupation is a spiritual psychologist. Now, slowly we see this because I was reading 10 years ago articles where psychologists were starting to, what do you call, like coin the word, or not coin, but acknowledge the words like empath and stuff like that. So we were slowly going into it, but that's where it's going to be because words don't teach. We are learning and we're going into, as we go further into the age of Aquarius, as we get closer to the rapture and this amazing, this beautiful, peaceful time of ease. I don't think I mentioned that. The point of the rapture is the split where there's going to be those of us who have stayed in this timeline of victimhood and negative thinking, and the suffering is going to be the same and worse. And then those who have changed their minds and who have decided to no longer be the victims of their realities and forgiving and healing and all the other stuff. And life is going to be easier for you. Just like that. And I literally mean that. Like, you're going to be experiencing a life of ease. What does a life of ease look like? That looks like more synchronicity. It looks like more alignment. It's already happening for so many people. It looks like you saying just random stuff. Oh, I wish I can have that. Oh, I just wish I could do that. And then it's just happening. It's going to happen like that, to the point where eventually we're going to be literally healing ourselves, like with our minds. Like, I'm not going to get too far into the future, but the medical field no longer even being needed. So this is in the Bible, okay? If you want to argue me, read the Bible because it's in there. It's in the Quran as well. You just have to know what you're reading. It's in all the religious texts. All the same stuff. You have to know what you're reading. All right, y'all. I love you guys. Let me make sure I'm not missing any comments before I go out here. Accepting the truth, having difficult conversations. I personally enjoy having difficult conversations. I'm a double Libra. So we are the communication sign. Hold on, put this on. And I can have a conversation with you that is a difficult conversation and not disrespect you and not yell at you and not call you out your name and not gaslight you. And these are the things that we have to get used to doing as a culture. Like I said, same problem is over here in Senegal. I see it all the time and I talk about it with my friends. Very disconnected culture of people when it comes to the truth. We're the same way. It's no different. You can speak to Caribbean people, and I mean, just people see this in their culture, in their families. The children victims are silenced and ignored, and it's just not a conspiracy. It's just something that humans have been doing and okay with. I don't even know how to get past this to get on my live to see the chat. So I'm sorry, you guys, if you guys are commenting and I can't see it, because I feel like it's like disabled or something, and I don't even see where there's any comments. Like, I mean, I don't see where someone would even leave a comment. It's not here. Okay. I love you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this live. Earth is School is my website if you didn't know that. Where is that at? I always forget to pin these. Earth is School. Why does that look different? Oh, earthisschool.com. All right. Peace out. Thank you for rolling with me.